Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about our tip and hint for the day, which is how to deal with hunger on a lower calorie day. Obviously, we are kind of known for the up day, down day approach that we have many of you and ourselves on. And so this is going to speak to the down day approach very, very well. But this also works for normal, dieting, because anytime that you're in a calorie restricted diet, anytime that happens, one of the things that you cannot avoid is the feeling of hunger. It's just something that comes with being in a calorie restricted state. So whether or not you're following something like we do, which is an up day down day approach, or just general calorie restriction, here are some tips and hints to help you to get through those days of where your calories are greater restricted. Point number one, and I'm just kind of looking off my sheet of notes that I made, point number one is to wait a few minutes. If you're hungry, you feel like you need something to eat, but you just tell yourself, I'm going to take a couple steps back, I'm going to wait a couple minutes, a lot of times that hunger will dissipate. Consequently, as long as you're staying within the boundaries of your calories, another thing you can do is have a protein shake available, something that you can just sip on to take the edge off. I've actually used coffee or tea sometimes for that as well, but anything to help take that edge off also does help, but probably the best option is to just wait a couple minutes. Probably another extremely effective thing to do is to drink fluid, especially water, to keep yourself as hydrated as possible. The more it's very clear that the more hydrated that you are, the greater satiation that you feel and the less hungry you actually get. So on lower calorie days, especially a down day for me, I find that if I drink plenty of fluids, plenty of water, a lot of non-calorie drinks, coffee, things like that, I tend not to be as hungry, and you utilize some caffeine as well too for that effect. But mostly, a lot of just pure water and pure hydration can really help that kind of hunger feeling in a way. Another thing that's very, very important is activity. A lot of times what I personally do and I help to teach people is, if you're hungry, if you're on a down day or just calorie restricted and you feel like you're hungry, get up and do something. Just get out and do something. Go for a walk, go do something. Just don't sit around, because I find that if I'm on a down day and it's a weekend where I'm sitting around not doing anything, I get really hungry. That's where my cravings get really, really high. However, if it's a day where I'm busy, I'm working a lot, out with the family, and it's a calorie restricted day, time just kind of passes and I don't even think about it as much. So activity is a very, very important thing as well. Also, we are big advocates of fiber, having plenty of fiber in your diet, and that's another thing that there's a laundry list, as we talked about, with positive health benefits, satiation, other things, but it definitely will cause food to break down more slowly in your system, which is going to, if you're on calorie restricted diets, it's going to definitely help you. So fiber is another thing. In fact, we recommend the Quest protein bars, and the reason why is they are about 170 to 200 calories. They have about 20 grams of protein, 20 grams, this one has 24 grams of carbs, but 18 of those 24 grams are fiber. So many times on low calorie diets, most people's fiber content goes down. So finding ways to keep your fiber content high is very, very important. Another thing too is the relationship between nutrient density and calorie density. Nutrient density is all about maximizing your calories with as many nutrients in those calories as possible. Where calorie density, there's not as many nutrients, but the caloric content is much higher. So if you're calorie restricted, it's very important to have the majority of those calories to be very dense in nutrients, because if you're eating very few calories, whether it's a down day or regular calorie restriction, and you're not taking in enough nutrients, your hunger is going to increase greatly, because nutrients generally will equal a lot of times slower digestion, which is going to help you, along with several other benefits that they do have. But we typically will be more calorically dense on higher calorie days or up days, but on down days, or lower calorie days, you have to make sure that you're eating nutrient-dense foods. These are a couple other small things, but they definitely can help. They can help, and I recommend that you do them as well. Any sort of relaxation or meditation that you go through, there's very much parallels between being stressed and being hungry. So if you have a chance to meditate, to relax, to take a step back, to prayer, whatever that may be, that can really help. Reading can also help. Anything to relax you can really help. Visualization, visualizing yourself positively. You can visualize yourself negatively, and you can visualize yourself positively. So visualize yourself what you're going to be, not what you want to be, what you're going to be. Visualize yourself being thin and healthy and fit. Because when you visualize yourself and put yourself into that mind frame, all of a sudden the food that you're wanting to eat isn't going to become as important anymore. If you're really struggling at the very end, if you're about ready to pick up something to eat, as the last resort, have a buddy that you can call. Set up an appointment, a pre-appointment already, where you have a friend that you can call at any time, where if you get into a bind and you're ready to eat something, you call them up. So when you're hungry, getting ready to grab for something that you shouldn't eat, call up your friend and talk to them real quick and tell them that you're struggling. And then a few things that you want to say. A few things that you can say to yourself when you're really hungry is, especially when you're doing the up day, down day, is, let me look here. Yeah, there's two other points that I wrote down here, and one of the points is, will eating get me to my goal? So if you're thinking, and I'm really hungry, and I know this is within the parameters, and I know I can't eat, and I really want to eat, if I eat, will it get me to my goal? And so when you put your goal into perspective, and if your vision is very clear, and you know that eating is going to take you further away from your goal, that's a lot of times where that will prevent you from eating. And the last thing that I have written down is, if I eat, will I feel worse and have to work harder? So in other words, we don't like feeling guilty. People don't like feeling guilty. And you know that if you're on a particular goal, if you have a particular thing in mind and you eat, you're going to feel guilty. That's something that's probably going to happen, which shouldn't happen, but it does. And it's also going to tell you that, okay, I probably put myself behind the 8 ball a little bit. I'm going to probably have to work a little bit harder in the future if I would have just not have eaten tonight. So those are some tips on how to avoid hunger on down day or lower calorie days. I hope this helps you, and I thank you for joining us today.
When you feel that something's wrong, I'll shelter you and keep